Hi, it's your girl Aisha, founder and CEO of Bossy Cosmetics, waiting for Alicia Ford to join from Glory Skincare. This is our Black History Month women's chat series, so let me put that up, pin it. Very excited to do this. We've got only a few left, so very, very excited. I have only two. Today's with Alicia Ford and tomorrow. So, hi! So let's see if we can get Alicia on here. But hi, if you guys have any questions, please just drop them in the chat as I'm going along in the conversation. But as I was saying, this month of February is Black History Month, or at least the month that we observe it officially. Every month is Black History Month. But I particularly wanted to, share some storytelling of Black women, and I selected a bunch of Black female founders to talk about their business journeys and the complexities and the mistakes and the failures and the lessons and the blessings and the successes. And it's been a blessing to be able to have these conversations. I want to thank each and every woman who has joined me for this conversation. We've talked about clean beauty brands, getting into retail, how it starts versus, where you are and how that sort of level up journey is. And it's just been really beautiful. I will, if you check on our Instagram highlights, you will see, I think it's called BHM, Black History Month Chats. So you can go in there and get links to all of the IG lives. They've been amazing. We've had some really amazing women on the series, and I'm really excited to get, let me see when I can have Alicia, if she's emailed, Alicia Ford from Glory Skincare join. So while we wait for Alicia, I am listening to some Wizkid, his new album called Made in Lagos, and I'm actually dressed in an outfit made by a Nigerian designer called Kiki Kamanu. I think it's backwards, but it says something different from Lagos. Lagos is the city in Nigeria where I grew up. So it's a hoodie. It's pretty cool. I don't know if they're still available for sale. I bought this years ago. But so we're waiting for Alicia Ford. But if anybody has any questions, please drop the questions here. I just love me too. If you've got questions, please ask while I wait for Alicia Ford. Let me see what she says. Let's see. I'm on. Sorry about the delay. Hi, photos by Trine or Trine. Sorry if I got it wrong. Correct me. Welcome to our Black History Month chat series. Today we'll be talking to Alicia Ford from Glory Skincare. Very, very excited to have her join. She says she's running a couple minutes late, so hopefully she'll hop on soon and we can get to chatting. Hello, as people come in, I'm waving hi. Hello, thank you for joining. Apologies for starting late. Waiting for Alicia Ford to join us, founder and CEO of Glory Skincare. Let's hopefully give her another couple of minutes. Any questions? If you have any questions for me, ask, please. Or anything you want me to ask Alicia, I'd love to. She runs a beautiful subscription box business. I wanted her to sell it, or at least to talk about it versus me talking about it, because I find that the way a founder talks about their business is far more magical and all-encompassing than anybody else could do. I feel like no one can do justice of talking about Bossy Cosmetics the way I can. But anyway, Glory Skincare is a really beautiful subscription box that I believe targets women of color, and it's really for clean beauty. Skincare, I don't know if she does cosmetics yet, but I've seen like lip balms and stuff like that on her site. And she's just a phenomenal entrepreneur. She used to be a corporate lawyer. So today's conversation is talking about pivoting from sort of corporate world to entrepreneurial world. I get a lot of people who ask me questions about that, given that I was an investment banker before and now a beauty entrepreneur. So I thought that Alicia and I can kind of talk about that. Her business, I think, just had a 1-year birthday, but in the span of a year, she's done pretty amazing things. Sorry, let me lower the volume. So hoping she will join us. I'll give her another minute. It's 9 minutes past 3. Apologize for the delay. We've never had a delay like this before, so I hope she's okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, drop them. Otherwise, we'll just wait for Alicia. Oh, looks like she joined at exactly 10 minutes after. Okay, hi, hello. She's here, and it looks like we can start. Hi, Alicia. If you can, hello. Hi, Stylish African. Hold on, view request. Music now for sure. Let's see.
Hi. Oh my goodness, I swear, this is not a great way to start introduce myself, but I truly apologize to you and the community that is tuned in. You know, like if anything, this is so great to talk about being a founder because one thing, the difference between corporate America and running a beauty brand, I will say, is time management.
Yes. and basically when you're a founder, you really don't have, like, your time does not belong to you. You start off the day with one plan, and then before you know it, something else happens. But,
yeah,
okay, so welcome.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is just such an honor. And again, my sincere apologies.
Apologies accepted. Yeah. No need at all. I was saying before you came on that we have been, or at least this whole month of February, everybody's observing Black History Month, even though every month is celebration of Black history. But I wanted to kind of use this month to talk to really inspirational Black women who are running businesses. And I think we've done about 6 so far, and they've been amazing. And I thought that, you know, you and I could talk about not just Glory Skincare, which I want to hear all about that journey. Yeah. And it's only been a year. But then also to talk about pivoting from, you know, corporate career to being an entrepreneur. So before we do that, thank you. Welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Ford. I'm the founder and CEO of Glory Skincare. We're based here in Portland, Oregon. What else? Glory today really is offering a marketplace. We really amplify and support other Black-owned and women-led skincare brands. So we have this marketplace today. We also have a curated box that we offer. And we are also sort of in product development right now. So we will soon be offering targeted treatments for melanin-rich skin, focused on your top skin concerns. So that's Glory in a nutshell. And then a little bit more about me. I'm an attorney by trade, and I know we'll get into that a little bit further, but made the transition into starting Glory a little over a year ago.
So, okay, so before we get into the meat of this conversation, there are a lot of things I need to congratulate you on.
Thank you.
I saw that you just got engaged.
Yes.
She got married. So you just got engaged. Glory just had her first birthday, right? When?
Yes, we just had our first birthday on Valentine's Day on February 14th.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Happy birthday to Glory.
Thank you.
And then you got into the Sephora Accelerator.
Yes, that's another
Okay, so you are on a great winning streak. I love it. So I was saying before you joined that you and I met, I want to say 2 years ago at the When Founder Meets Funder event at Y Combinator.
Yes.
And so I guess that was prior to launching Glory. But talk a little bit about why you decided to move from being what I understand is a really successful corporate lawyer
Yeah.
to doing this. Talk about the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting. You could not have told me, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago that I would be doing this today. That's for one. Um, and how it really came about was just really from my own sort of customer experience. You know, being a, you know, dark-skinned Black woman, I had made the transition to clean skincare. I suffer from migraine headaches. And so about 10 years ago, I made the transition to clean beauty, which is defined in so many ways. But, and I remember walking down the aisle, sort of looking for products and not really seeing me reflected in the marketing, in the branding, you know, packaging, what have you. Um, and over time, it just seemed like there was still this void. And so when I moved to Portland, Oregon, for a job at Nike, I did what everyone does when you move to a new town. You look for your hairstylist, you look
Yeah.
like who's going to do your facial and all these things. And I needed some guidance about products, and I couldn't really find anyone to give me guidance around it. And what I found was like outside of LA and New York, there really just aren't platforms for us. That has since changed, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
But that's really what catapulted the vision for Glory.
Awesome. So, okay, it's been only a year.
Yeah.
I want you to sort of take anybody, if there's somebody who's watching this now or will watch it later and is like, you know, in 1 year, she
Yeah.
has done amazing things. What would you say, like, what advice would you give somebody
Yeah.
who wants to start something like what you started? Before we talk a little bit about why subscription box, like why
Yeah.
did you pick those things?
Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody now? Because you've done almost the impossible. I want to know how you did it.
You know, it's interesting. I would say what really started everything was the leap of faith. And I know, you know, for
Yes.
me personally, I you know, believe in God, believe in a higher power, but like for me it was taking that leap. I didn't have all the answers. I certainly didn't know how it was all going to come about. Um, you know, I had taken my 401k, uh, you know, and I knew how long it would last me, a few months. But I took that leap. And so I would say for anyone who is sort of like trying to figure out if they should start that company, I say do it. You know, start that company, even if you have that 9 to 5, start that business, start that idea, you know, get going.
And you don't need to, I love that you
Yeah,
said you didn't have all the answers, right?
no,
So I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in the, okay, but I don't have ABCD all the way to Z.
yeah.
And it sounds like you're saying just with ABC start and DEFG will sort of kind of make its way through, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even today, I still don't have all the answers. You know? Like,
I can understand that 100%. I feel like every day I'm learning, I am discovering, I am prioritizing, I'm making those trade-offs. So
yeah.
I completely understand that. So tell me, you talked about walking in the aisle and not seeing yourself represented, and that was sort of the driving why to create clean beauty
Yeah.
products as a dark-skinned Black woman.
Yeah.
Why? So when you know, obviously I followed you from day one and
Yeah.
I was looking through your site. How did you decide that you would then curate products as opposed to just focus on a product? Because it seems like you're both, right?
Yeah.
You have your own products. I see you've done like the satin wrap and
Yeah.
you've got the lip balms and you've got what else did I see on your site? I
Like
saw
a candle.
candles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got some wellness products, beauty and wellness products, but then you also curate a bunch of things. How did you decide to do the
Yeah.
two?
You know, it's interesting. It was a lot of, I don't know if many people know this, but it was a lot of sort of like, let's test the market. Let's see what people like and don't like.
Yep.
What is resonating with our audience? I think for us, it's always been about making sure that we create products that the community wants, as opposed
Yes.
to me telling them like, you should have this.
Yes.
And so the way in which we thought to see what people wanted or liked or disliked was to do this curation. So we were like, how can we partner with like-minded brands who also shared similar values as us, and aesthetic, and one, amplify them and support them, but then also two, sort of get insights as to like what the community wanted and needed. And so the skincare quiz is what we created. That was really the driver, and that's really helped us with product development today. I mean, we had over 52,000 data points from this skincare quiz.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
In fact, that was going to be my next question to you, because I think in one of the chat series we did, we talked about this notion of experimentation and how, you don't have all the answers on day one, and you kind of do something and it fails, and you do something else and it succeeds, and you kind of just learn, and your community will give you that information. I was going to ask you, another founder said she used social media to communicate with her community, to ask them questions. What do they want? I do that as well a lot. And so it's interesting. I love that you use data, right? To just get to, and how did you get people to respond to this quiz, to get that data that you needed to go out and then have confidence to build products?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Well, one, I had some hypotheses, one of which was, when Black women and women of color are not being catered to within the beauty and skincare space, specifically clean skincare. And so the quiz was really just validation. It was like a test to see, like, I have this hypothesis. How do I actually see if it's actually true or not? And the quiz demonstrates that, because it's like, people are willing to share their images and share all this information about them because there truly is a need. They want to know what will work for them.
Awesome.
So that's what, that's really what we thought of as far as, and I say we, but me, I thought of in creating the quiz.
So, okay. So now let's talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. And I love this notion of faith, because I'm also a woman of faith.
Yeah.
And I actually have, one of my lipsticks is actually called Faith.
I love it.
And so, I want to hear your experience, because, you had a legal career, I had a finance career, and you kind of develop this level of confidence in what you do, and you still battle, but you just kind of hit your stride, and you're like, okay, I got this. Yeah. And then you decide that you're going to kind of move to a whole new thing. I had no beauty experience except as a consumer, right? Yeah. And so the thought of going from a salary job to zero salary to, get into this market that I thought I had a very unique perspective on, but is highly saturated. I had like panic attacks. Like, I'm going to fail. I'm going to embarrass myself. Like, nobody's going to buy my products. This is going to be. Did you have that? Because I think it's easy when you're an entrepreneur to move around, but from corporate, walk us through that. I want to hear how you handled it and how you felt.
So I can't even say terms like past tense, because I still experience imposter syndrome. I mean, just even this morning, I was crying to my fiance, like, how am I going to do all this? So yeah, I think it's, and you said it so perfectly, like, in the sense that, I went from being the subject matter expert, practicing as an attorney. People would come to me and I would give them guidance. Like, I knew my stuff, Yeah. And then to move into a field of beauty and skincare where, I only know it from being a consumer. There are many times where I feel as though I don't know. Yeah. And I always say this saying, you don't know what you don't know. And so it's hard to even look to see, like, where should I even go to if I don't even know what to be looking for. So there's a lot of that, where there are times where I feel like I'm ill-equipped. Yeah. And in that, what has sort of been, again, back to sort of my own personal faith, is around like God. I pray, I really do pray and ask for guidance, because everything that has transpired in this short amount of time is not just my own doing. I
Of course.
don't believe
Of
it.
course.
To me, it's like, this is, I truly do feel like this work that I'm doing is also purpose work. It's really to make an impact. It's really to bring other people along with me. That's why I love that you even gave me this platform to share my story. I really do believe in like a sisterhood and being able to connect. There's enough room for all of us to thrive and do well and succeed.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to echo that point because, this chat series has been really amazing. Every single woman has been amazing.
Yeah.
And there's so many more women that are amazing that I just can't speak to women all day chatting. Right. If I could, I would, but I can't. I actually have to run my business. But what's been so beautiful is this notion of support, this notion of, even if we both make lipsticks, lots of women are buying lipsticks, there's power in everybody supporting one another, particularly as black female founders in the beauty space. It is incredibly hard for us to succeed. It's very hard for us to get capital. It's very hard for us to, get press. It's very hard for us to do everything.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we need to be careful even around hero worship of, people say to me like, how did you become so successful? I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa, I'm still on the journey, still working. And I want to talk to you about that as well, because, when I was obviously preparing for this, I was like, she's on fire. Like, talk to me.
Yeah.
I mean, so one thing that I think I talked about in our chat series was, the notion of the murder of George Floyd and how he was a martyr for many of us Black-owned brands, and how it really kind of flipped things for us for our benefit at obviously him and his family's cost.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you how you feel about that as a Black-owned business, a woman. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's interesting because I've had that sort of similar questions around that time, like over the summer, different times where we saw this uptick in sales, and we saw, allies really supporting us and, sharing Glory Skincare. And it was bittersweet, right? Because we were getting the acknowledgement and support that we always needed, and or but at the same time it was due to such
ugly circumstances.
Circumstances. And so that's why I just always say it's bittersweet. But I'd like to think that even in that time of evil and wrongdoing, so much good came out of it despite that. And George Floyd and so many others have left a legacy. Have really sparked the tough questions and discussions that need to be had. I think just even in amongst even my friends, when they were reaching out asking me if I'm okay, it was kind of like, this isn't the time to really be asking me if I'm okay, but I get where you're coming from. But we need to talk a little bit further about some things. These are the conversations you need to be having with your parents. And your cousins. And, let's have those conversations.
Absolutely.
So all to say, it was definitely bittersweet how it all came about,
So I saw on, I think it was your latest blog post, where you kind of teased about new products. I don't know if you remember that. And I was like, okay, because when I always looked at you as a retailer in a way, in that you were a platform for other products. And that you had a couple of products of your own. And then when I saw that you got into Sephora Accelerate, I was like, oh, she has a plan. And then when I saw the blog post, I was like, she has a plan. So obviously, I'm sure your plans are confidential, but can you give us a little bit of like, where are you going? Where's Glory Skincare going to go? What's the aspiration? What's the vision?
Yeah. So, I really see us providing targeted treatments and skincare from head to toe. And what that looks like is really, formulating products for those with melanin-rich skin. They are created by dermatologists who are of color. So really putting Black women and women of color at the forefront of everything we do. The products will be for everyone, but again, it's really focused on those with melanin-rich skin. So eventually you will be able to go into retailers and online, and you'll be able to buy products literally from head to toe.
That are made by Glory.
Made by Glory. So yeah, that's the vision.
Awesome. I can't wait for that to happen. So talk to me about, we talked a little bit about imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
How do you, I mean, and I suffer imposter syndrome every day.
Mm-hmm.
And there are moments when, I may get an email, speak on this panel or do this thing. And I kind of always go through this thing of me, little old me, like, why do they want me?
Yeah.
How do you think about, for most people in prestige beauty,
Mm-hmm.
Sephora is the end all be all. And I saw your video where you were like pointing.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that moment, how it felt for you 1 year into starting your company.
I remember when I applied, I remember the video I did and submitted. And then I remember the interview process. And of course I had to keep that quiet. But I remember when we had the Zoom call and I remember I was so nervous. It's like when something great is about to happen, and you've got like butterflies in your stomach. And I remember when they said like, congratulations, we want you to, and I just was ecstatic. Just so full of joy. Because I knew right then and there too, this is going to change the trajectory of Glory, right?
Huge. If you needed validation before that, you don't anymore now.
But it really was just like, I mean, I can't explain it. Even now, it's still, it's so great. And it's so much bigger than me. It's so much, and I say this because I always remember, like, why I created this. I want women to feel seen and feel heard. I want them to see themselves. And I want, younger generations to know that like they too can start a beauty business and have it flourish. Yeah. And, so that's why. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just been amazing. It's really beautiful. And the funny thing is when I share it with the Sephora team, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. They're like, this is just the beginning. And, and it's like, whoa,
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. In one of our conversations, we talked about the weight almost of being a Black woman who is, gaining more prominence in your field. It's almost like, I mean, personally, if you're a type A person and you're ambitious, you want to succeed, but then the more visibility, you really feel like I can't fail for the culture. For the culture, I gotta get it right. Do you feel that? Do you feel like, okay, like I'm one of 8 women now, in this opportunity, and it's such a golden opportunity. Do you feel any weight or no?
No, it's interesting. I don't feel that sort of weight. If anything, I have always felt the weight that I've always had the thought that like I'm here for a reason. So the weight that I've always had is, what if I live a life without purpose? Like that is the weight that I carry. Like, what if I live a life where I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing on this earth and helping other people and making an impact? Like that's the weight that I carry.
Interesting. Yeah. I have something similar, but maybe more narcissistic. Tell me if you agree. But I have this fear of mediocrity, of just never quite, you know, achieving what I'm supposed to have achieved.
Yeah.
And I always think, you know, what if I, you know, at the moment, I mean, I guess when I die, I'm going to be focused on my kids. So that would be my only interest. But I often think about, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I setting that example, or am I helping, or am I sort of pushing in the way that God initially intended me to do from the beginning?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about fundraising. I think I read that you have angel investors, or do you have VC investors?
I
Or both?
have both. I did do a pre-seed round. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like, we haven't really talked a lot about this in the chat series, but do you feel like it was easier for you to do a pre-seed round because of your corporate background, or do you think it didn't matter at all?
That's interesting. You know, as I think about it, it did come up. It did come up as far as like what my background is, because I think, you know, early on it's so much about like the team.
It's entirely about
like the founder and the vision. And it did come up as far as like the places that I had worked prior, and so I did think it had some weight in the decisions, especially around, you know, because early on when I was raising, I did everything. Like I, you know, created the site on Shopify. I was the branding, like all of us, right? The branding,
you were the we. I always say we, and people are like, how big is your team? I'm like, oh, wait.
Exactly. So I think for them, they're like, wait a minute, how are you an attorney and yet you were able to bring this like visually beautiful site? And I'm like, well, I did work in advertising before, and so like that sort of helped, and you know, I do have an eye for, you know, so I do think that definitely played a role as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what can new products coming, new marriage coming, Sephora coming. I feel like there's no point in asking what next. I mean, the sky is literally your limit. I want to say to anybody who's here, if they've got any questions, please drop them. Because I want to make sure that anybody who's got questions for you, Alicia, has the chance to ask you. I think that too many people are petrified and nervous about starting a business, and they think that you need millions and millions of dollars and all these connections. And I always say, hi, the Wellness Apothecary. You know, I always say, you know, at least in my case, it is just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other. What advice would you have for somebody if they wanted to start a beauty business now? What would you tell them based on a mistake that you made?
Yeah, you know, I think I didn't realize, which I'm sure for others it's like, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer, but the team that you bring on it's so important. I think early on, because it was just me for, you know, the first 6 months, I bootstrapped, you know, and I was doing everything on my own, that I was just so in need of people to help out that I don't think I really took, you know, probably like the first, you know, folks that I had sort of contracted with me, I didn't ask enough questions. I didn't really, you know, and so I think looking back, lesson learned was now I do like a personality test. Like I really do sort of like try to get to know the people that I'm going to have on the team, only because you want folks who are going to take the initiative. You want folks who have that drive and eagerness and passion.
Yeah.
And initially, I don't think I, you know, I didn't know sort of like what were some of the characteristics that I really needed in people on my team, and now I have.
Okay. So the advice is be careful with who you hire.
Be careful with who you bring on. And then the other thing too, I think, is you won't have all the answers. So just if you are aware of your weaknesses and the areas in which you don't have experience in, find that expert. They're out there. And that's really how businesses operate, is like the
Yeah.
CEO doesn't know everything. There's no
And
way
you
to do that.
shouldn't.
And you
You
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
You want to, I always say, I was saying to my husband earlier that I will not hire anybody who I know more than in a
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Right now, you know, if you are an expert in blah, 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 and you
Yeah.
know more than me, I want you to come work for me
Yeah.
in that topic.
Yeah.
I can give you my opinions and my vision,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to be way better than me.
Yes,
So
exactly. Exactly.
that's my view at this juncture.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I made a mistake in the beginning myself in that I hired somebody who worked for a legacy beauty company.
Oh,
And I thought, she would really be, and it's taking me to the question I see Elisa Mama Kids asked about marketing
yeah.
strategies. Because I was very insecure about marketing. I came from
Mhm.
finance where we don't market, right? I mean, if you
Yeah.
work for like a Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, your business card is your marketing. So I hired somebody who had done it for, a Fortune 500
Yeah.
company, and that's just not the same
Yeah.
for a small business. So can you, what have been, say Mama has a question, but what have been the marketing strategies that you found the most effective, please?
Yeah. It's interesting. We have started really focusing on social, and then email. Like, I think those are the two areas where we really and SMS texting. So like those three channels have been really helpful for us. And the quiz has really helped with getting email lists
Mm.
growing our email list, I should say.
So
Giving
when you say
offers.
social, do you mean paid social or organic
No,
social?
yeah. So we haven't done any paid media yet. So everything that we've done so far has been to grow it organically.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
and
Wow.
only because I was of the thought that if we were so dependent on it, then it would really be hard to really assess like what was actually working and what wasn't.
Yep, that's
Um,
right. That's the right
and
way to
we're
look
not
at
at a
it.
place where we're scaling yet. We're really still like learning and trying to figure it out. So it didn't make sense to turn that lever on just yet. It makes
Yeah.
sense to turn it on when we're in a different level of at that stage where we're growing.
Wow. So email marketing,
Mm-hmm.
text marketing, and
Mm-hmm.
social, SMS and social.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
I guess the quiz is there, people go in, captures information, and you organically guide people basically to your site. So you're not paying them to go to your site.
No, so SEO, like that's been helpful. So search engine optimization has been helpful, driving traffic. Of course, the organic press, like things like getting on Beyonce's Black Parade route, like that's of course.
Okay, there you go. That was one more thing. So I have a question here,
Yeah.
because that will lead us to this. So by the way, I saw that Beyonce thing, girl.
Yeah.
I wept. I was like, I want to be on that list. And then I was like, God was like, listen, I'm bigger than Beyonce. Chill out. But anyway,
Right.
I did have a weep fest. Let me tell you. But anyway, so it says, how soon in a brand cycle do you think is too soon to get a PR, like a PR person?
Oh, okay. It's interesting because I do think within beauty and skincare, various brands do enlist a PR firm early on. It is a great way to generate brand awareness. I don't know if it's necessarily a great way to convert, right? Because I think sometimes people see you in media and then they're like, oh my gosh, they must have like tons of sales, and it
It
doesn't.
don't. I tell people all the time, it don't work like
No,
that.
no. So, yeah, you've got to hit them at different points, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So all to say, I do think that you could start out the gate with a PR firm. It's just you also have to be mindful of the expenses, right? The monthly retainer for a good, PR firm, I think, and I'm not no expert, but I would say anywhere from like 3,000 to 15,000 per month. So,
Wow.
one, do you have the funds to do that early on? For us, we got quite a bit of organic buzz and PR, which was great. And then we sort of wanted to keep that momentum. And so we did enlist the help of a PR firm. So today we do have a PR firm. They're phenomenal. It's 6-1 agency. Kylie Hughes is the CEO of the agency. And she specializes in beauty and wellness. So as you also think to look for a PR agency, don't just get anyone. Like we had numerous conversations with her. You really want to see like, what can you expect out of them? What is their area of expertise?
That's what I want you to talk about.
Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot, and I love, I don't want to speak for the person who asked the question,
Yeah.
but I think, I've heard of brands who have, a year later spent tens of thousands of dollars of like almost all of their money paying a PR firm who basically got them in like a bunch of roundups and nothing that led to anything useful.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit? So you started organically, you wanted to kind of get the momentum going.
Yeah.
So you hired this, Kylie's agency. How did you think about picking that agency? What should somebody do if they're in beauty or they're not in beauty? How do you think about it?
Well, I think referral is always great, right? Like you always want to, if you can have someone recommend someone, I think is the best. For me, I had actually been following Kylie. It's funny, I actually had been following Kylie way before I even got in the beauty space. So who knows? But I just was like, wow, this is really neat that there's so few Black women leading PR agencies. So that I thought was just really cool. So I followed her. But then when I was actively looking for someone, a friend of mine from college, she's now, VP of marketing at a major bank. And so she was like, oh, I should introduce you to Kylie. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are the chances? So that's how we connected. But even still, even in those conversations, we went back, we had several calls to make sure that we were both the right fit. This is like a partnership. They're an extension of your team in some ways.
Yeah.
And so you want to see like, what is the other work you've done for other clients? Who are your other clients on your roster?
It says, how do you spell her name, please? I think you got Kylie a client. You need to get a discount this month.
I'm like always repping her. I tell her. So it's Kylie, Kilee, and her last name is Hughes, Hughes.
Got that?
And it's called 6-1 Agency.
There you go.
And I think they just, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. Is it Violet Gray? Yeah, I think they just signed. That's their new client, I think.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
so
big.
they have several, like indie brands like Glory. They also have another fellow Sephora brand, or Sephora Accelerate brand, Colfie Beauty now. Several others, and then Violet Gray.
Does she want Violet Gray money?
Well, so funny thing is, I think I'm like, hey, well, we're definitely not on the Violet Gray level. So I think, she's conscious of like where you are in your stage and
all right,
how to charge accordingly. So yeah.
And well, obviously, if you are recommending her, just from what I see, I can see that you've got some really great PR on you. So great. Kylie Hughes, folks, anybody listening to this, check her out. I follow her on Instagram as well. So
yeah, they're great, and I don't get any like kickback or anything. I just truly like, it's been so great working with her. You want to find someone to answer Say Mama's question. You want to find someone who is really seasoned and has real connections to editors, right? Like you want someone who literally could pick up the phone and call one of the editors at Vogue or wherever, and you want someone who isn't just quick to send you their rate card. You really want to find out more information about like what they've done for other clients before you start even talking about their rates.
Wow. Well, I think you know, I always tell people, I always get these emails from like, I don't know if it's British Vogue or Tatler or
Oh yes,
whatever,
I know
you
exactly
know,
what you're talking about.
pay. And I'm like, no, okay. Like, I'm not being conceited or anything,
Yeah.
but I'm not paying for this. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if the brand resonates, you will cover. If not, you know,
Yeah.
you're just a chop shop, and I don't think that works for anybody. It
Yeah.
doesn't really help anybody. And if you are focused about conversion,
Yeah.
which I think as a brand, we have to make sure. I mean, it's really great if you are in these amazing magazines. Everybody loves that. Come on, we all have a little bit of
Yeah.
ego, so that's beautiful.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you know, it's a business you're running.
Yeah.
So conversion is critical.
Yeah. But I will say, you know, also too, investors like PR. They like, yeah, they like to hear and see that you have been mentioned all over.
Well, I mean, PR is social proof, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can imagine it works for investors, and I can imagine it works. I mean, it definitely works for customers. And when I look at our referral traffic, we get very good traffic from, you know, I don't know about conversion. I wouldn't say actually our highest conversion is from email traffic. Is from email newsletters. Yeah. Highest. Like in a way where I'm like, how do I get this newsletter popping? Because I mean, the 4% conversion rate. I'm like, give me more. Yeah. So yeah, while social, you know, is something else entirely. So yeah, no, I understand. But you know, I'm also learning that as well. We've got a few people who've just joined in. I am chatting with Alicia Ford, founder and CEO of Glory Skincare, who was on Beyonce's list. She's in the Sephora Accelerate program. She's getting married pretty soon. And what was the other thing we're celebrating?
Oh, Beyonce.
No. We already said Beyonce. There's another one.
I'm just,
She just turned 1. Her business just turned 1.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just turned 1.
You make it too easy. You make it look easy. But I know it's not easy. I know there's grace involved in that struggle. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining the chat. If anybody has any final questions, ask. Otherwise, it was a real pleasure to speak to you again. We haven't seen each other since, you know, when Founder met Funder. If you are ever in Silicon Valley, let me know.
I will. And I just want to say, like, it's funny because you say to me, like, oh my gosh, you're killing it, this, whatever. I feel that way about you. Like, every time, like, I see, you know, Bossy, like, I'm always like, yes, like, do your thing. You make it look so easy. You do it so gracefully.
Oh, you're too kind.
I just want to say, like, great work. Keep going. I mean, you're doing so great.
Thank you.
And I love that you are uplifting other women, empowering other women.
Yeah.
So keep going, sis. You are really making an impact.
Thank you. Look, same to you. Right back at you. Yeah. I feel like, you know, I agree with you 100% in that we live lives of purpose. There's a reason we were made. We have a destiny that is meaningful. Right. And I actually feel, I always tell people that Bossy Cosmetics is the perfect intersection of my purpose and my passion. Yeah. You know, I do believe I was put on this earth to ignite confidence in women and myself. Yeah. And so I do that in everything that I do. And so it is part of an honor to have this chat series to speak to other Black women who are doing it for Black women, for Black men, for white women, for white men, for Latina women, for Latina, like we are. You don't have to be Black to be inspired by a Black woman. You don't have to be a woman to be inspired by a Black woman. And so I just wanted to invite women who are inspiring people and are doing amazing things, and to just, you know, send a little bit of encouragement your way, as well as to our followers who will watch this video. So thank you so much, Alicia. It was great to chat with you. And congratulations for all of your wins.
Thank you so much. And again, apologies for being late.
No worries at all. No worries. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
All righty. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
I was listening to music. I'm going to keep listening while I'm done now. See you. Let me see how we get that. All right, everybody, thank you for joining. I'm going to keep listening to my whiz kid, Afro Beats. If you want to join me, I think we have 2 more minutes left. Say Mama says, thank you for sharing and being so open. Yes, Alicia's amazing, and it was great to have her. If you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, I'm jumping down. Woo! We have one more conversation tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's the end of our Black History Month chat series. Thank you for joining. Bye.